The Secret in the Vineyard. Part 3. The Truth Unearthed. The tension between Nicolas and Claire thickened as they sat in the drawing room, the weight of Elodie's journal heavy on the table between them. The fading light cast a warm glow around the room, but all Nicolas could feel was the chill of the revelations that had surfaced. He ran his fingers over the worn leather cover, acutely aware that this small book contained the key to understanding not just his father's life, but the tragedy that had unfolded within the walls of Chateau de Saint-Jean. "I can't believe it," he murmured, lifting his gaze to meet Claire's. The anguish in his voice was palpable. "All these years, my father, he's the reason she vanished." Claire's expression softened, a mix of empathy and determination crossing her features. "It's hard to accept, I know. But now that you know, you have to act. Elodie deserves justice." He leaned back in his chair, the weight of the journal pressing down on him. "Justice? How can we achieve that?" "My father was powerful. He silenced everyone who dared to speak against him, who would listen to a son accusing his father, even posthumously." Claire leaned forward, her intensity unwavering. "You have to take this to the authorities. Your father's legacy doesn't matter anymore. What matters is bringing Elodie's truth to light." A flicker of resolve ignited within Nicolas. For too long, he had allowed his father's shadow to loom over him. He had run from this place, but now it felt as if he had finally come home, not to the oppressive memories of his childhood, but to the truth. "You're right. I won't let his sins go unanswered." The next morning, with Elodie's journal tucked safely in his pocket, Nicolas and Claire set out for the local police station. As they walked through the quaint village, the warm morning sun illuminated their path, but an undercurrent of anxiety coursed through Nicolas. What if they dismissed him? What if this led to more danger? When they arrived at the station, the atmosphere was a stark contrast to the serene beauty of the vineyard. The officers, busy with their mundane tasks, looked up with mild curiosity as Nicolas approached the front desk. He took a deep breath, feeling Claire's reassuring presence beside him. "Can we speak to someone about a serious matter?" Nicolas asked, his voice steady despite the turmoil inside. Moments later, a detective named Officer Martin emerged. He was a middle-aged man with tired eyes and a weary demeanor, clearly accustomed to the routine of small-town cases. "What can I help you with?" he asked, gesturing for them to follow him to a small interview room. Once inside, Nicolas laid the journal on the table, feeling the weight of the moment. "This belonged to Elodie, the woman who worked at my family's estate. She disappeared years ago, and I believe my father was involved in her disappearance." Officer Martin raised an eyebrow, skeptical. "Your father, Nicolas Delacroix? He passed away recently, right?" "Yes," Nicolas confirmed, his heart racing. "And I believe that his death is connected to Elodie's disappearance. I have reason to believe he covered up what happened to her." As Nicolas recounted the details from the journal, the detective listened intently, taking notes and occasionally glancing at Claire, who was equally invested in the unfolding story. When Nicolas finished, Officer Martin leaned back, deep in thought. "I'll need to investigate this further," he finally said, "but I can't promise anything will come of it. These claims are serious, and the Delacroix name carries weight in this town." "I understand," Nicolas replied, desperation creeping into his voice. "But we can't let her memory fade into obscurity. We owe it to her to uncover the truth." With a reluctant nod, Officer Martin agreed to look into the matter, and after a tense few minutes, they left the station. As they stepped back into the fresh air, Nicolas felt a mix of hope and apprehension. He had taken the first step, but what would happen next? Weeks passed, And as the investigation unfolded, more pieces began to fall into place. Claire worked tirelessly alongside Nicolas, interviewing former workers from the estate, piecing together their fragmented memories of Elodie, and gathering testimonies about Louis's behavior in the months leading up to both of their deaths. Nicolas learned that Elodie had been beloved by many at the Vineyard. Workers recalled her laughter, her kindness, and the way she had stood up to Louis when she believed he was acting unjustly. Those who had once been too afraid to speak out were now emboldened, feeling a sense of duty to honor Elodie's memory. During this time, Nicolas and Claire grew closer. The shared mission forged an unbreakable bond between them. Late nights were spent poring over old documents and photographs, laughter punctuating the serious discussions about the past. They found solace in each other, and Nicolas began to see Claire not just as a colleague in the pursuit of justice, but as someone who filled the void that had long haunted him. The breakthrough came one fateful afternoon when Officer Martin contacted them with new information. The remains of a body had been discovered in a secluded part of the vineyard, buried beneath an ancient oak tree. The forensic team confirmed it was indeed Elodie. With the discovery, the investigation gained momentum. The evidence revealed that Nicolas Delacroix had been engaged in a web of deceit, running a business that thrived on shady dealings. His desperation to maintain control had led him to silence Elodie permanently, fearing she would expose his actions. The truth was finally out, and justice for Elodie began to take shape. The community rallied together, holding a vigil in her honor. The vineyard, once shrouded in darkness, was now filled with light as people came to celebrate her life and the bravery of those who had spoken out. As the sun set on the day of the vigil, Nicolas stood alongside Claire, surrounded by a gathering of friends and former workers from the estate. The air was filled with the scent of wildflowers, and candles flickered in the soft breeze. Nicolas could feel a profound sense of closure wash over him. "Thank you for everything," he whispered to Claire, the weight of gratitude heavy in his heart. "I couldn't have done this without you."